All right, let's talk about it. So 1 day old rogue, right? We had yesterday was our first day at level 100. This is into day 2 now. And with the help of chat and stuff, I think we definitely are where I want to be in terms of the direction I want to go with what this character is to me. Obviously, I push on my necromancer, right? But my necromancer farming is just not enjoy, like it just requires too much focus and effort to farm mats, right? Like pit 99. Actually, once this guy's upgraded, I'm gonna probably move into 101s. That's the ultimate goal. Right now though, 99s are a breeze, and I'm only, most of my gear is only 4 of 12, right? And still trying to find that sweet spot. But yeah, I'm liking it. It's, like I said, it's exactly what I wanted out of it. And it's just gonna get that much easier. Obviously, the more I upgrade my gear, and I want to get a new ring too, actually. But I'm gonna just make a quick little guide on like my version of the Heartseeker so far, and kind of talk about what I think and like what I want to do yet in order to achieve what I'm trying to achieve with it. But like I said, so the main thing is to take away the stress of mat farming on my necromancer. Golem necromancer, very strong, very high, you know, skill cap, but you have to be paying attention to every little thing, or even in like a 99, you'll get smoked by, you know, little mechanics, let alone boss mechanics, right? This rogue, even at level 80, this rogue was tankier. Level 80, no, not resistance cap, not armor capped, was tankier than my cracked out geared necromancer, not even exaggerating. And the playstyle of it, I see why everybody's saying why Heartseeker is as fun as it. Like, I agree. I had tons of people saying, oh, Heartseeker rogue is super fun this season, and it is. You're zooming all over the place, dashing all over the place, you do plenty of damage, your mobility is just insane. I think that's why I liked Sork so much last season. The mobility is just second to none. But anyways, what I got going on so far, I'm trying to keep it simple in the sense of like, I'm not going too crazy with my gear yet. Obviously, it's a fresh 100 essentially, but everything I have is only 1 GA or not even a GA. And then obviously the Shaco. The Shaco is the only Uber, but I do think it's pretty mandatory. I guess I shouldn't say mandatory, but for what I'm trying to get, again, this is I call it the lazy man's rogue. Trying to just have a character I can kick it with chat, talk with chat, not really have to pay too much attention to my screen while I'm farming, you know, 99s. 101s is the ultimate goal. Once I'm like 12 of 12 on my gear, I think 101s will be a breeze, just as easy as these 99s are already. And you can see my life is actually really low right now, but that's by choice because I'm trying out emeralds to get more dex, just for more damage, just to be more speedier. It is a little less forgiving in the sense of, but granted, I'm a necro, I play necromancer, right? So I'm used to trying to avoid every little thing. So even with only 30k life and running emeralds, I still get caught here and there. But again, I'm not fully upgraded, not even close. I have a lot of room to grow yet, and still gonna tune some stuff. But super easy, blast through, you know, a few minutes. A 99, I don't know. I guess I'm not sure what I'm averaging, but it's not. It doesn't take very long, like I said, and I'm trying to do it with as little effort as possible, but still enjoying it. Right? It's the whole point of the lazy man's rogue is get through quickly, efficiently, as lazily as I can, right? With as little as effort as possible, but still enjoy it, right? And that's where, like I said, you're just dashing all over the place, hopping all, like you're just all over. The mobility makes it super fun to play, and like I said, it's pretty laid back in the sense of farming. But yeah. So like I said, Shaco to start off, and then I go into Dark Shroud. Of course, that's like the big part of your DR. I mean, there's a lot of DR in the build. But Dark Shroud is definitely something you want to get in terms of your chest, kind of like Golem Mastery on your Necromancer. But you can see I just did Dex, Max Life Dark Shroud, and GA Dark Shroud. Dodge chance, I'm not sure. Like, I do like dodge, but I don't know. I might try to get like Siphon Strikes or something, because again, I'm all about being as lazy as possible, and I'm not like, at least currently, this character isn't meant to push. We'll see. If I get some really good drops and stuff, of course I'll end up pushing with it as well, but for now I'm trying to be lazy, and honestly, I don't know. I might try to get, instead of dodge chance, get like at least one hit of siphoning strikes, just to be, you know, that much easier in terms of like self-healing, not even have to worry about potions type stuff like that. But So yeah, but then lucky hit, what I'm doing for that is you'll see on my other pieces, I'm getting, I have one that is a lucky hit stun for a temper. I have two that are freeze, but the reason for that is I'll come to it later in my amulet and stuff. But a lot of the build, like the more I freeze and or stun, the more damage I do. But even more so for freezing because my amulet has frigid finesse on it. And so yeah, I'm trying to just min-max that in terms of tempering and stuff. But yeah, so I got stun on this one. You go down into here, it's attack speed, crit chance, lucky hit chance. Again, the GA is on the lucky hit. I think that's pretty important. You kind of want to be at 50% from what I'm seeing and hearing. And granted, keep in mind, I'm new to Rogue. This is just my version of it, you know, 24 hours in. But I've had a lot of help from people in the chat, a lot of really good rogues. And like I said, I'm blasting with it. I'm having fun with it. It's exactly what I wanted out of it, and it's only going to get stronger. But you can see, and this is with a potion on, but my lucky hit is over 50%. I was using shared misery instead of undying. I was using shared misery before I hit 50%, but after hitting 50%, I feel like it's not as valuable. So I went back to undying again, just to be as lazy as possible. That's why I kind of want to add siphoning strikes too, instead of dodge, at least somewhere, like at least one hit of siphoning strikes. Just add a little bit more self-heal, and because my attack speed is so fast that I'm self-healing so much that, yeah, it's just, I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, we got GA lucky hit there, and that's the only GA lucky hit I have, and then I have it on the rings and stuff. I do have it on my amulet as well though, but that's how I'm able to get with the potion over 50%. I think that's a good spot to shoot for, and that's again just from knowledge from other rogues in the chat that have, you know, helped me get this all set up and get started, because again, I'm brand new to Rogue. This is the first time playing it, but it is a blast. But yeah, and then I have attack speed and crit chance. This is, honestly, I don't know. I'm kind of torn right now with the crit chance. I do want it on at least one piece of gear, and I think I will keep it on gloves. But I was also thinking about maybe getting vuln damage there instead. But one of my rings has vuln damage. So for the way it worked out for me, I think I'm going to keep the crit chance here and keep this kind of as is. I am going to try to re-roll and get more lucky hit chance though. But this is just what I got for my first, like I said, I just try to get things at least 4 of 12, get started, get rolling, and whatever. But then I got frostbitten on there. That's another reason why, again, I try to favor frozen, because frostbitten, you do more damage to frozen. I guess I didn't actually read it, or stun. So yeah, stun, frozen, it's the jam. But then when you add frigid finesse, like I said, frozen is, I've been favoring frozen. And my next two pieces, you'll see the tempers, I have freeze on both of them, and that's kind of what I mean by that. But this one I have smoke grenade duration. I'm not sure. I might change that to another stun or dazed, because dazed, when you see concussive strikes, you do 20 times more to dazed enemies, and obviously that gives you a lucky to daze. But the more you can stack it, the more it's obviously going to happen, the more value you can get out of it, I feel like. So that's why, again, I have 2 hits of freeze, like I said, on my pants and on my boots. And again, I'm not 100% sure yet if I want to do that and commit to that yet, but instead of the smoke grenade duration, but I might at least try it. And again, keep in mind, there's a lot of things I want to try and test for myself, just because I'm new to Rogue, and that's what I like to do when I'm making builds, or like making my versions of them, or tuning them the way I want them. But I'm just trying to give you guys my thoughts on what I'm thinking as I'm, you know, doing this. Hopefully it's helpful. But yeah, and then so the pants, undying, again, I was using shared misery to start until I felt like I had enough lucky hit, and then I moved it into undying just to have more self-sustain and to be lazier, I guess. But I will say the shared misery felt like I was doing way more damage like early on, before I got my lucky, like when I was at like 30-ish lucky hit. The shared misery made it feel like I was doing way more damage, because it helps spread it all, right? And everything is about the more things are frozen or CC'd, the more damage you're doing. But again, once you get to that 50 threshold, I feel like that's when it kind of starts to diminish in value. Just again, initial thoughts on that. But so on there, I got Heartseeker. I did not get GA Heartseeker, unfortunately, but it's just, again, what I'm working with. And you'll also see on my chest, I re-rolled max life. So I have Dex, max life, Dark Shroud, of course. On here, I have Dex, Armor, Heartseeker. And that's because on one piece of gear, in order to hit your armor cap, you can see I'm not quite there, but once I upgrade, I will be. I have armor there, and then I just put total armor on it as well. That's kind of like my armor piece. And that's where, like, if instead of dodge chance on here, if I put siphoning strikes, that'll be like, you know, my health piece, or however you want to look at it. That's just how I'm looking at it. And then on my boots, I have GA movement speed, because I just love movement. Anything I play, I want to be as fast as possible, even if it's not meant to be. It just feels better to me. But so I got dex, movement speed, and I actually put resist all on there because it just helps me hit the resist cap much easier, way easier actually, and it frees up a lot of stuff in your paragon that I feel like it's more valuable than having like a little bit more HP, because you're already so tanky. Just my preference so far. I feel like that was a good move, because I was struggling to hit the cap, even with trying to get like rings. Like I was trying to get rings that had the right resistances on them and all that, and it's just it's a mess trying to do that. So I just slapped them on there, and it feels good, feels solid. And again, for the tempering, you can see I had freeze here, and then like I said, total armor, because I had armor on here. This is kind of like my bulk armor piece. And then of course movement speed for the other temper on here. The bow, Vaughn, just single GA Vaughn, and huge here too. This is another big thing that I feel like the chat shared with me that I agree like was huge. You can see the chance for the Heartseeker projectiles is at it's 12 of 12. This is the first item I slammed purposely for that. I think I rolled I want to say it was 59%. I hit a 59%, so I would say that's the minimum you need to hit in order to, if you need to get one crit on it, right? Like your 4 ranks or whatever, the 4 master ranks, just keep re-rolling it till you get one hit on Heartseeker, the projectile one. So again, you want 59 minimum, like baseline, like when you're tempering it, 59% or more is what you kind of need to be at. I'm pretty sure I was at 59%. I'm like 99% sure I was at 59. And that will put you obviously at 100% when it's 12 of 12 and with 1 crit on it. But you can see, yeah, so I had dex, vulnerable, of course, vulnerable, temper, and then the Heartseeker. The temper, the masterworking, again, keep in mind my masterworking on this is not ideal in any of these pieces, really. Well, some of them are good, like the first one on there moves, that's what I wanted, stuff like that. Ideally, I think I would want double hit on the temper vulnerable, because it's such a high roll on there that I think that's, I gotta look at it again. But you just basically, you want to hit to min max, you want to hit whatever your highest one is, right? But I want double vuln and then 1 hit on the Heartseeker to get that to 100%. And I will say, when it did get to that 100%, it felt like my damage like doubled. Like that's how it felt, because every time you shoot, it's guaranteed to shoot double, right? You cast it twice, which is just, it felt massive. I would say that's one of the biggest, like I would highly recommend doing that to anybody looking to get into Heartseeker, if you're new to it, whatever. Again, chat shared that with me, and that's definitely, I saw the difference immediately once it hit 100%. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. And then over here, these I found, both of these I found just out in the Helltides. Dex, GA, and then I rerolled vulnerable. Same thing here, Dex, GA, max life, and then rerolled the vulnerable on it. I feel like daggers are pretty easy to get. You can use swords at 2. I just went with daggers because it's faster. Again, I'm all about speed and just having fun with it, and trying to be lazy. But on here, you can see the Caltrops duration. I have Caltrop duration on one and size on the other. Honestly, I might get duration on both, because the more I play this, the more I realize that so if you read Caltrops, right, and again, I'm new to it, I'm learning it, but when you read it, it increases per second they stand in it, right, up to 63 times. Okay, so I feel like, especially for boss fights, you wanna open up with your Caltrop. You know, your boss is here, you open up with it and you start your thing, wait for the stagger. One thing, again, this is more the play style of it, but you want to have 100% uptime on the boss on Caltrops. It makes a huge difference. And you want to hold on to your smoke grenade. You can dash once, you know, you got 2 charges of it technically, so you can dash in on them, start that proc, because you get the 15 times, right, for your crit on that. So you can start out with that, hit him with the trap, you know, shoot him, get him staggered. Once he's staggered or about to stagger, then you can, you're probably going to need a second caltrop beforehand, and then he'll stagger it. Then you smoke bomb and dash in and then delete. That's like, at least for me, that feels like if you do that correctly, you can kill, like, you'll see what I'm saying. Like, it just deletes them. So there is setup involved with Rogue for sure, which I like. I appreciate that. It's a really fun, laid back, you know, class to play, but there's also a skill cap involved, especially for like the boss fights like that. Like, that's just a little example of the setup on how to delete the boss, you know, and kind of one-shot it essentially. But yeah, so hopefully that makes sense. But anyways, back to what I'm talking about on the caltrop. That's why I think I might even double roll it, or try to like get a triple crit on it or something. Like, you definitely want to get caltrop duration, because again, that's a massive part of your burst potential, especially on the boss fights. And I'm actually, you'll see here on this ring, I'm currently using a cursed touch, but I want to switch this out for intercom for the same reason. The way I play my playstyle when it comes to deleting a boss like that, I think intercom will be huge in it just adds a little bit more onto that skill cap of like being able to min max and just, again, delete it in one stagger. And again, if you do it right, and if intercom, I feel like, is worth, I can't do it right now though, because I don't have the ring to do it. So what I'm trying to do on this ring is, actually, I'm trying to get instead of GA crit chance, this is just what I got for now. I actually want to get GA attack speed, lucky hit, and then get the lucky hit chance to apply a vulnerable or whatever. Once I get a ring with that on it, I will get rid of a cursed touch and I will put intercom on it, again, specifically to delete bosses faster. I don't know how much more value it's going to have, like speed clearing through it. I'm sure it'll have some depending on your playstyle, but for sure for bosses, there's no question it'll help make it just, again, easier. So yeah, I'm right now, I'm starting off with a cursed touch, and a lot of you guys, especially if you're starting out with a Heartseeker build, probably have to do the same, or I'd recommend doing it until you can get a ring with that on it, because you do need, you know, vulnerable is huge. The whole build revolves around vulnerable. That's why you're getting it every temper you can. You're trying to hit it everywhere you can. You're trying to get it everywhere you can, because the way Victimize works right now, it's all about vulnerable, right? When you read it, and you can see my current damage increase is 2,026 times. And that's like I said, I'm not even super geared yet. I am, like, my gear is great. It's got the right tempers. Like I said, I'm on the right path. Feels really good, especially for one day in. But yeah, it's all about the vulnerable, and that's why. So you need some way to do it. And again, once you get that 50% lucky hit chance and stuff, like everything starts to really, you feel it. Like it feels really nice. And I prefer, I probably am going overboard with attack speed, but that's, again, I'm just playing this the way I want to play it for what I'm trying to do with it, right? And that's just to kick back, have a good time, and farm. My Necromancer is my stress push, you know, build. But again, depending on, like I said, if I get my, you know, if I get some decent gear rolling on this guy, of course I'm going to try to push with him too. That'll be, and I'm sure I'll tune it a little bit different for that. But for what I'm doing right now, this feels exactly the way I want it to. But again, I'm just missing, really the only thing I'm missing is that intercom. Once I get the ring I need, and like I said, in the planner, if anybody's watching this on YouTube, in the planner, I'll have what I'm trying to do with the build in the planner. So if you see something different in the planner, that's because that's what I'm trying to do, or because I changed it and that's what I like. So it might be a tad different than what you're seeing right now. But again, if you don't have a ring like me, just use a cursed touch in the meantime. And then for the other ring, I'm doing attack speed, lucky hit, and a GA vulnerable damage. Again, just a cheap ring, fairly easy to get. It's just to get things started, and I'm not even against it, especially because I don't have vulnerable damage on my gloves. Like, I'm okay with it being there. And the crit chance, that's where I'm kind of torn right now. Like, I have crit chance over here, and I do have it here right now. And crit chance, you know, if you read how all your abilities and stuff, crit chance is important because it procs a lot of your stuff and your momentum, your build up, whatever. It's not necessarily the damage. Obviously, critting is good for the damage side of it too, but it's a lot of like if you read Heartseeker, for example, if you critically strike, you gain attack speed, right? So like crit chance is important, but you have so much built in naturally that I believe I'm currently at like 80 some %, I want to say, and I only have one GA crit and I have one on here. So again, that's where I'm kind of thinking I'm going to drop the crit chance on this ring. I'm going to keep it on here, but I'm going to drop it here. That way I can keep the double lucky hit, stay over 50%. And again, I just prefer the attack speed. Some people will pick up crit chance instead of attack speed on one of the rings and only have attack speed on the, you know, on one. Again, that's just based on what you're trying to do, how, you know, what your goals are, whatever you want to call it. But, and then rapid, of course, on there for the attack speed on the second ring. And for the tempers, again, you get vulnerable everywhere you can, and then agility cooldown on the jewelry or on the rings. For the amulet, this amulet's actually really good. It's not a GA, but it's extremely good. It's obviously it's got a +3 malice and a frigid finesse, and then a perfect lucky hit, which again helps me get easier to that 50%. I think 50% though, honestly, if you don't have lucky hit on your amulet, it probably is kind of hard to get to 50. So I'm kind of lucky that it's on there. But realistically, from what I've heard, if you're truly trying to min-max and just be super cracked, you want to have exploit. Actually, I think exploit's your best thing, so I don't even have that. Malice and frigid finesse are secondary to exploit, but obviously any of those three are going to be good, and then lucky hit is the filler, right? So it's actually a really good amulet for what it is. Perry coming in with the unfortunately he didn't wait. I apologize for that, you guys, but thank you for the T3, my man. But yeah, that's it. And then adaptability on it, of course. So in terms of gear, hopefully that makes sense. Again, I'm new to Rogue. I'm trying to just share with you my thoughts on it, like what I've already experienced, learned, and again, from some help from people in chat and stuff, and trying to just share all that with you the best I can, and hopefully it makes sense. But again, in the planner, that'll have it more dialed in, everything the way I'm trying to get it. Because again, it's not quite there, but it's close. Like I said, I'm actually, for 24 hours in, this character is feeling super nice, and I am not complaining at all. But then, so for the skill tree, it's pretty standard to every other one, I'm sure. You know, you go primary Heartseeker, max that out, of course. Come down here, grab the movement speed. Probably don't need to, depending on your preference. I prefer, again, as much movement speed as I can. And again, here I see a lot of other people, some other guys I've seen. Siphoning strikes, they only get 1. I'm doing 3 just because, again, I'm just trying to be lazy. And then rugged, this actually I just picked up. I didn't even really, I kind of overlooked this. Somebody in the chat actually mentioned this in terms of the dot damage, because like, dang, I was getting hit by like damage over time stuff, and it was like tanking me. And they're like, oh, you can get, you know, there's something in the skill tree. Look at that, 27%. Actually makes a big difference. I gave up though. Again, I'm doing something, just testing. I gave this up for now, agile. I gave that up in favor of rugged. But again, I might rework it and just refer to the guy for whatever I decide on. I just changed that. That's why it was just a quick change to see how it felt. I might try to min-max that a little bit better, maybe try to get that back. Because dodge chance, I do like dodge is good. Obviously, taking no damage is better. But you do, again, when in terms of the DR, I felt like the dot stuff was hurting me the most. And that last run I did, that was actually the only run I did with it. There was dot stuff happening, and it felt way better. But yeah, then weapon mastery max out, of course. Caltrops into discipline, concussive max, 1 into trick attacks to be able to knock people down with the daze happening. 1 into dash so that you can get enhanced dash. And you'll see that I don't have a point in shadow step, but that's because Shaco gives it to me. I do use that in the build, but I don't need to put a point in it because of Shaco. And then max out dark shroud, of course. That is huge in your survivability, into subverting. And then 1 point into grenade, so you can get over to countering. And then max out exploit and max out malice, of course. Down over here into maxed out frigid finesse, maxed out trap mastery, 1 into adrenaline, 3 into haste, and then of course victimize. That is the bread and butter of the build by far, and hence why you stack so much vulnerable. Yeah, and then paragon. Again, just the easiest to refer to the build guide. I'll have it in the comments if you're watching on YouTube, but just simple chip to start out with, up into the exploit weakness, and then I get devious there. And the reason I do that is so that I get, you can see I get more vulnerable damage by putting it here, right? The magic, it gives you your magic nodes, so that's why I choose to put that there. I go over, I get this for a little bit of cold resist to help max it out. and max life, of course, over into the Lorana's instinct board. And then I'm going attack speed because I have overflow. So I pick it up. I just like it. It feels good to me. It's fun. You like a little machine gun out there. And but on this board we have ambush, and then I do come over here again for a little bit of resist and max life up into the no witnesses board. And here I get pride, and the reason for that is the extra max life. You can see on that note I get 18% max life, which is crazy. Yeah, and then over here, and that's how I start out this way. I go here, go to the right first, and then I come back, and then I go out to the left, and then start picking this stuff up. This one, deadly ambush, and exploit, maxed out every bit I could get. Again, I want as much vulnerable as I could possibly squeeze. I pick up a little bit more max life here, a little bit more resist, up into some DR to elites, into the cheap shot, you know, legendary, and then finish off with control. So it is kind of similar to like the glyphs are very similar to other guys that I've seen and stuff. My placement is definitely a little bit different in the way I lay it out, but that's just to min max and try to squeeze more points. It's a little bit more polished, in my opinion. And like I said, I'm picking up attack speed, which you could drop this realistically if you really wanted to try. And I did try it, and I don't know. I kind of feel like this feels better to me, but you can take these out. You can rework this, take this out, and actually put ranger here. If you need if you want to try to get a 7th glyph, actually take ambush out, rework this with dex for ranger, and then take these and these. You basically take, you know, this path out, rework it into here, and min max this with your dex for ranger, and take this out too. And then you can come out over here, because you can see this is actually pretty close. You can come out here. You get, if you rework this, or when I did it, when I reworked this board, it gives me essentially 21 extra points. I think I have to take a little bit of max life points here and there, like a couple extra max life nodes as well to do it. But I could come over here into, god dang, I can't remember what the name of the thing is now, but there's a board that is really close to the glyph spot, and you just sneak up there, and then you actually put ambush up here in this board, and like I said, you put ranger down here. You could try that if you want. I tried it. This to me felt better though. Overall felt a little bit more polished. Just, yeah, it felt better to me, because all that really does, ranger just gives you 10% more DR when you're using your bow, but you lose a lot of max life, and you lose the attack speed, and you lose some of the resist doing that. And I felt like, again, it was just way easier to min max this way. Hence why this is how I laid it out. But, and then for the specialization inner sight, hopefully that helps. Hopefully I didn't take too long in explaining everything, but I felt, like I said, I wanted to explain my thoughts on it, you know, what I've learned, what I think, and what I'm trying to do, and kind of give you guys the best advice I can. Anybody in the same spot that I was in, trying to make one for the first time, and if anybody's looking for a similar type, you know, version of it or whatever, maybe that's what everybody's version, I don't know. No, I feel like there are people that are pushing with it, of course. And again, for right now, I don't plan on pushing with it, just because gear is so costly and so hard to come by. But if, you know, a couple weeks from now I have some super good gear on it, I'll make another video, or try pushing with it or whatever, if I get that version of it. But for now, this is the, I would say, like a baseline basic version of a Lazy Man's Rogue, or the start of. And once I get everything 12 of 12, honestly, like I said, I think I can speed 101s no problem. Very relaxed. I mean, you still can get caught, I'm sure, and there's still some setup involved for sure to min max it truly. But that's just how Rogue is, and I actually, again, I prefer that. But it is significantly easier than my Golem Necromancer for sure when it comes to being able to just hop in, farm real quick, and yeah. But anyways, hopefully that helps. And did I forget anything? No, specialization, skill tree, paragon, gear aspects, even kind of shared the setup. Like I said, hopefully that helps. And if you guys are watching this on YouTube, hey, come check out the stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Merkadis. Come kick it, hang out. Usually I'm playing a little bit of everything, you know, season to season I change it up a little bit. Usually I'm a necro main, some of you guys know, but I do like to play a little bit of everything. And whether it's PvP, you know, pushing whatever the new stuff, whatever it may be. Tonight we're gonna finish off with pushing a little bit further with the necromancer, see if we can get to trying to get to that 145 mark before the patch comes. But yeah, again, hopefully it helps, and hopefully I will see you guys again in the next video, or come kick it in the stream. Either way, I appreciate you guys. You guys have a good one, and good luck with it.